Well, hello, everyone. I'm so excited that you have taken the time to join me and my guest, which I'm going to be introducing shortly. I'm so excited. As you can see, we are outside in nature. We are expressing gratitude on location, and this is an on location conversation for the 2024 Be Transformed Transformational Moment Gratitude Challenge, 30-day gratitude challenge. And I'm telling you, we are on what? 27, day 27.
Yes, gratitude speaks.
And I'm so excited. I'm so excited, not because we're here in the conversation, but because of my special guest. And you know, those of you that know me, my special guest is actually my brother, Dr. Patrick J. Brown. And I'm going to go right on into introducing him. And then I'm going to come back and just kind of segue into the conversation that we're going to be having today. But Dr. Patrick Brown, and I'm so excited to introduce him. He is a change architect, thought leader. And the reason why he's back today is because the thought leader is going to come out today because we're going to really talk about this whole brilliance surrounding gratitude. But Dr. Patrick Brown is an author, speaker, thought leader, scribe. He is the executive director of the Renewal Center in Concord, North Carolina. He's an author of Change Matters. You need to get that book because it's an amazing book with so many great nuggets. If you want to change and you want to see change in a new perspective, you need to get that book. And not only that, he's a mentor and so many other things. I mean, just incredible critical thinker. And I just can't wait, none other than my brother, to have him here back on the Be Transformed Transformational Moment podcast. But because he has a lot to give, as we're going to be talking concerning gratitude today. And we've been on this whole stretch and this whole stroll and this whole flow for the last 27 days. This is year 7.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited. Last
7
year,
years.
7 years. He was on the podcast with me last year for week 4 as we were talking about synergy. And here we are 1 year later, and we are still on week 4. And I have invited him back, but not only just we're not talking about synergy today, but we are talking about the light that gratitude brings and how gratitude emanates and brings brilliance into our lives. And so, as I was really pondering on this, Patrick, I thought about this for some time. And I said, this year we're raising the bar in 2024.
Yeah.
As we talk about gratitude, we're looking at it from all angles. And gratitude is just not being thankful and, showing, gratefulness for things, but we have been discovering more digging to a place of really getting to know and being acquainted with gratitude even more this year. Starting in week 1, of course, random acts, saying thank you and ways of saying thank you, actually building tangible things like gratitude jars and keepsake albums and writing in our journals, and visiting week 2, coming in with random acts of kindness and paying it forward and acknowledging our attributes and affirmations, and moving into week 3, everybody, when we were talking about our hobbies and sitting with it and becoming to a place of we're really getting to know ourselves even more and appreciating what we bring to the table through our hobbies, and that's being present. So I will talk about that a little bit later. And then here we are, week 4, as we talk about unity, synergy, peace, love, joy, and relaxation. As you can see, Patrick and I we're sitting behind his house with this beautiful backdrop here. We are actually in the moment. And so, as you can see, the sun is shining here, and there's a brightness here, there's a brilliance here. And what I want to talk about today is a conversation that I think sometimes we may not really see gratitude in this way. And as I was taking the time to really think about gratitude in this way, I thought of gratitude as being a beacon.
Beacon.
It's like a beacon of light that it's just it just illuminates every space because we bring positivity everywhere that we go when we are in that place of gratitude. And so today, the light that gratitude brings to our lives is what I want to hear. And this coming from different angles. So Patrick is going to come and share another point of view, but really how this really affects us in everyday living. And I can't wait to hear what he has to say. And so this is going to be a casual conversation. You know, we have our tea out here. We're just enjoying nature and we're sitting in the light. And so I'm going to let Patrick take it from here. Okay. And we're just going to have a casual flow of conversation out here and really hone in on that aspect of gratitude.
All right. Thank you. Well, you're in the light. I'm going to get a little light here and then come back over in the shade.
We tried to fix it. So
she's hogging the light over here. What's going on?
We're both in the light, but okay. Okay, Patrick.
Right here. I got some light.
So funny.
Anyway, okay. So again, Carmela, thank you so much for the conversation. Yeah. You've been doing this and the 7 years of intentionality. And that's important that we're deliberate and intentional about being grateful, thankful, gratitude, the mindset behind it, the impetus behind it. And when you talk about light and brilliance, I begin to think about it from a perspective of scientifically, actually, just thinking about the spectrum of light and how sometimes we can't really see it. And so we have to have some type of extra lens or some type of apparatus that will help us see into this dimension of light. Like we can't see X-rays. We really can't necessarily see light as much as we can feel it and experience it. Even if it's at a microscopic or a subatomic level. So, well, what does that have to do with gratitude? Well, our bodies have, in our heart, has a certain amount of electricity. And so because our body has this bioelectrical field or energy, when you walk into a room, there's a certain amount of energy or electricity we bring into a space. You can feel it when people walk in because it's actually physiological. It's scientific, actually. And so when we have a heart of gratitude and then a mindset of gratitude, and it comes from the heart of the core of our being with intentionality, then there's a certain amount of electricity or brilliance or brightness that we bring into a space.
Electricity.
We bring it in there. And so sometimes we're disconnected from that because various reasons why, but I think it's important that we start from that scientific level about what's really going on in our hearts that might, potentially block us from showing that gratitude. And that's why it's important to be intentional about it. There are times I am not grateful for certain things because of my experiences. And sometimes it's like, well, you gotta be grateful for it all. And then I begin to think, well, in it, I can demonstrate gratitude because when in the experience that I may not be thankful for, when I start showing gratitude in the midst of the experiences, then there's brightness, there's light, there's an electricity that I bring from my heart into the actual physical space that I'm in. And so I think it's important that we start thinking like that we consider that. And there's also a neurological part of this. There's neuroscientific part of this too, because of how our cerebral and different aspects of our brain is wired, whether it's a polyvagus nerve, which is our fight, flight, freeze, fawn, hypervigilance nerve. Okay. There's that part of it, and that's another part of the conversation. But I want us to look at it from that lens. I think there's something we can start considering, that your heart, my heart, your heart brings a certain level of light because of the electricity and the field that surrounds you. And actually, it's measurable up to 10 feet.
Wow, and I agree, I like that you're saying this. I'm going to go back to intentionality in just a minute, but I just want to comment on that. Isn't that so true that, when you walk into a space, you can actually feel the warmth of someone that has positivity. You can actually feel compassion. You can feel joy. You can feel peace when someone, walks in. And then even when you come into the space and you bring that, you can even feel that coming with you.
Yes.
So I'm not going to hog up this conversation, but I have to say That I agree with that because that is so true. I do understand that when I am in a space, it doesn't matter where I am, positive or negative, you definitely can feel. And then when you set up to 9 feet,
Mm-hmm.
so wow. So then you can already feel that even when someone's approaching.
Absolutely, you can. And
If you can speak to that.
there are some measurable things in cardiology that I began to read about that,
Wow.
especially considering what happened to me in April. I was like, okay, I started reading everything about the heart and everything that's taking place, and I discovered the electrical part of it. There's that plumbing side of the heart,
Mm-hmm.
that gets clogged. There's all kind of things that go there. Then there's that electrical part of the heart that is uniquely tied to our nervous system. It carries our emotions. It carries some of our thoughts. It carries our feelings. And we know emotion is energy in motion. So emotion is energy that's in motion. It's moving. When I don't express it, it will find some place to manifest, whether it's on the
Yeah.
negative side
Right.
or on the positive side. And so, the worst thing we could do is rationalize it,
Mm.
intellectualize it,
Mhm.
and the best thing we can do is being intentional and deliberate about allowing it to flow. I mean, it's the same way down south. We may say something like, they got a stink attitude, right? Why can you smell an attitude? You know what I'm saying? It's like, or when somebody does something, what do? You turn up your nose, like,
But I get it.
you're smelling it.
I get it.
So that means that attitude is connected to the sense, the
Right.
smell sense. So gratitude is connected to what sense? All of them.
All of them. Oh gosh, this is so good.
All of
Yes.
them is connected to all of them. And it's not only is it connected to all of our senses naturally, it is also connected to the I would say the subatomic structure of everything that's out there. And imagine this: when you think about quantum physics, you think about scientific, this very pen here, this very table, it's a solid, but it's still moving,
Did
right?
you guys get that?
It's a solid, but it's still moving.
It's solid, but it's still moving.
It's still moving. The reason why we can't pass through it is because we're not on its frequency. And so once we get on its frequency, maybe. But the thing is imagine if we're all on the same gratitude frequency.
Frequency.
That's where I'm going with this. And what kind of light will be demonstrated? Because we can hold this. Why can I hold this? It's because I'm on a different frequency. Because this is still moving. This very glass is still moving. It's just that I can't see it's
Our
moving.
perception of what we see
Yeah,
is
because
solid.
I don't have a microscope. I don't have that
Right.
type where I can. And then once you zoom in, you'll see that it's still moving. It's just that it's moving at a different frequency. And it's the same way with gratitude. That imagine if I have a heart that says, this is a difficult challenge in my life or my job, my friendships, my relationships, different things, and I'm going to start being deliberate about my hobbies and gratitude, my gratitude actions that I'm doing. I'm setting an environment of gratitude. I'm being deliberate and intentional and willful about that gratitude. Well, what you're doing now is you're changing the frequency of your heart.
That is amazing. That's an aha right there.
You know, the frequency of your heart is
The
changing.
frequency of your heart is changing.
I mean, it's the same way when we relax and we take deep breaths. The pace of our life is changing and shifting because of the interaction, the way that our bodies are made physiologically is that oxygen, that intake releases into our lungs, which releases into our blood systems, which goes to our heart, which goes to our brain, and it's all interconnected. And so when I hold my breath, when I'm full of anger or I'm full of the opposite of gratitude, and then now what I'm doing is my frequency is going down, or I'm not really because I'm holding it all in, and now it goes to my shoulders. It starts sweating in my palms. My breath skips a little bit because see my physiology subatomically is being affected by the bowels of gratitude that I'm holding in, and so therefore it's not really light. And so,
Not really light.
and so I think it's important when we think about even reflection and refraction of light as it relates to optometry, and we're looking through the lens of how light bounces off of our pupils and how that all works. And just reading in that field, it's just interesting how um, the light may bend for us to be able to see something. And then as a result, it reflects back the colors that we are looking at right now. And I think it's important that gratitude can color your life as well,
Mm,
because it's a certain lens that we start looking at things and wonder, why do they have such a positive view of things? And, when we initiate gratitude, then we color our life, you know,
that's
we
amazing.
color it. And I think that goes a long way with how we look at things, because sometimes it's not even what you're looking at, it's how, or it's the lens in which we look at it. And
Mm.
gratitude can cleanse our lens.
Wow, this is really amazing. I'm loving what Patrick is saying. He's coming from so many different angles, and I want to go back to intentionality
Hmm.
because I believe intentionality is really at the heart of gratitude. And something that you said caught my attention because it's so true. There are times when you really don't feel like you want to move in gratitude. I'm not grateful right now,
Hmm.
but then it's like, if you look at it, like Patrick was saying, either you're going to be, it's either or,
Hmm.
either you're going to move into that place of positivity in the moment or you're not. But even when you take the time to be intentional,
Hmm.
then that's when you open up so many options to move into a place of wellness. And that was something that you were saying, physiologically, I guess,
Hmm.
basically, physiologically, emotionally, all of these different things. And then you move into a place and a space and you bring positivity wherever you go.
Yeah.
I want to just step back for a minute and let you share just a little bit more about what you were saying about, and it was something that I wrote down. Let me share what I wrote down, everybody. When I was thinking about this and wanting to interview Patrick and talk about the light that gratitude brings to our lives, I said that I see gratitude as a beam, like a beam of light, that extra sparkle.
Hmm.
So if you think about when you see these pictures or commercials or things
Hmm.
that, and you see something that goes ding, and you see the little ding and the little
Hmm.
flash of light,
Hmm.
it's like that's what you remember. You don't
Okay.
really remember the object
Hmm.
as much, but you remember that
Hmm.
extra special spark. And it's that extra special spark that ignites something within us
Hmm.
to see things differently.
Okay.
Talk about that.
Hmm.
Gratitude is seeing it in a different perspective. And sometimes you have to will yourself to
Sure.
be grateful
Yeah.
in the moment.
I think also, I'm glad you mentioned that, because when you think about beams, brilliance, these
Mm-hmm,
snippets of
mm-hmm.
pockets of brilliance or pockets of sparkling,
That little extra.
yeah, I think what that is to me really is, as you experience life or experience a situation, we allow what we're feeling, we allow the experience, then we become deliberate in our intentionality to shift. And I think
Mm-hmm,
that's accentuating something.
mm-hmm.
It fine tunes it, it accentuates it. Many times when you see that little star show up in maybe a design,
Yeah.
or they call it a aha, or
Mm-hmm,
the hook, or it's that the little fine tune is, you know,
mm-hmm.
and what that does, it accentuates something.
Look
And
at that.
I think that for me, when I think about brilliance, we all have it.
Mm-hmm,
Everyone has brilliance
mm-hmm.
because we're created. So everyone has brilliance. Gratitude helps accentuate that brilliance,
Look
because
at that.
what it does is it brings that light forward, perhaps it
Yes.
otherwise may not be, it may be dormant because of the normality and the routine and the I would say regular patterns that we're in, where we don't take time to note or notice what's within us or what's around us. And gratitude helps bring those pieces together. At least that's what my thoughts are on that.
Yes, and I like that. And as Patrick was just sharing that, my mind went to what I was just talking about in the podcast. I did a podcast the other day, based off an article that I written, and it was the present of being present.
Mm.
So there is a gift.
Hmm.
There's an actual gift of being present and in the moment.
Hmm.
And so, if I may just take a second to kind of share a little bit of that, and I want you to just kind of hone in on this, chime in and just elaborate how this equates to what you're talking about. On the podcast, I was talking about how we are, how we manifest uh, gratitude even more in our senses
Hmm.
and really sitting with it, really taking the time to enjoy the moment is so important. And so I was saying, smelling our food. What does the food look like? I mean, enjoying the cuisine, enjoying the
Hmm.
colors.
Hmm.
And as I was even driving and I was looking at all of the leaves, look at the leaves behind us and the colors, sitting with it and actually letting it capture you,
Mm-hmm.
you know, hearing it. Right now, Patrick and I are sitting out here and I can hear some chirping behind us. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
you heard
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of chirping going on.
Yeah.
What is that? Oh, wow. What type of bird is that?
Mm.
What is this? Being able to sit with it, using our five senses. How are we feeling? What does it look like? What does it taste like? What does it smell like? Going back to the fact that gratitude is intentional with a continual flow of just being in
Mm.
the moment
Mm.
makes a big difference in how we see things and
Mhm.
how that light emanates through us when we're taking the time to just be.
Yeah.
And so I would like you to talk a little bit more about how does that equate with what you were sharing when you were talking about, just being engrossed in things.
Mm-hmm.
How does that equate with brilliance?
Mm.
If I could say something really quick before
Mhm.
you make this before you share this.
Mhm.
When I was looking up the word brilliance, it meant great brightness,
Mhm.
glow,
Mm.
beam of light,
Glow.
blaze, luster, and radiance.
Mm-hmm. Radiance. When as you were sharing that, I was liking that to I was just our wiring,
Wow.
and there's some electrical work I'm going to do here in my home, and I don't mess with that because that's not my area. But I know wiring has something to do with it. Call the experts in. I don't play with none of that stuff. But I started thinking about the way that we're wired. For instance, I have my watch on my left
Mm-hmm.
arm here. You know, well, if I change it to my right, I have a different sensation. And the reason is because I'm wired to put
To
it on
put
my
on the left
left.
hand, right?
I'm not wired for the right. And so
Wow, this is good.
what if I switch up and I put it to my right? I'm so accustomed to doing this and
Mm-hmm.
messing around with it. But then I'd have to do this because when I'm doing this, there's a certain part of my brain that is already wired for that response.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we miss brilliance and radiance because we're wired for a certain way. It's a
Wow,
conditioning.
this is oh
So we
wow.
don't take time to look.
Mm-hmm.
We don't take time, rush through our food. We're so
Right,
caught up into the minute that we miss
right.
the moment.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Right.
So I think gratitude, when we start thinking about gratitude more holistically, more comprehensively, more less linearly and more
Mm-hmm.
circularly, and you're talking about taste, touch, smell, sound, you know, tangible,
Being present.
right?
Yeah.
When we do that, we rewire our lives in
Wow.
ways that we previously did not rewire. So
This
that's
is
why it's
good.
important. I think that it's important to notice. I think it's important for us to start thinking about ways that we can notice what we don't usually notice. So that helps us rewire ourselves. So, no, am I saying change your watch to the other side? No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying, though, is that I think if we can implement gratitude deliberately into all of our senses, I mean, I can smell my tea, or I can let me just drink it. See, now imagine I'm grateful. I implement gratitude as a mindset, as a deliberate
Right.
rewiring. That brings a brilliance because sometimes constantly looking at what's not working, what's not happening, can sap our energy, and therefore our brilliance cannot show up because of that.
Did y'all hear that?
Hmm.
Our brilliance cannot show up when we're not really honing in or focusing in. Man, this is so good. This is real. This is another lens of looking at gratitude.
Yeah.
But we don't see it like that. We just sometimes just kind of put
Hmm.
gratitude into this one pot, send a thank you card, say thank you, pay it forward. That's about it.
Hmm.
It's so much more. It just does so much more to us and for us. It's that brilliance, it's that
Hmm.
luster. What is it? It's that beam of light, it's that
Hmm.
blaze,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's that glow, that
Yeah.
great brightness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That brilliance fosters, or shall I say, it encapsulates opportunities, options. It's multifaceted. It doesn't say nah nah. It's okay. Instead of it saying either or saying both and,
Mm-hmm.
it says through and through. So I'm not just going to say either or both and. I'm going to say, okay, let's go through that. Let's walk through that portal of gratitude. It's not gratitude over here or non-gratitude over here. It's not gratitude and positivity over here. It's let's go through all these dimensions of wherever I am and allow the exploration of that light to unfold this brilliance. Because many times we enter into brilliance when we are not myopic. We enter into brilliance because we constantly are open to growth, expansion, wonder, splendor, like a child.
Explain that a little bit more.
Tunnel vision, constantly focused on one thing. When we're a child, we say things like, we don't say, I want to be a firefighter.
You want to be a fire truck. You want to be the airplane.
Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
We acting all, and if we get older, now we all stiff.
That's right.
Life has hit me, and I got time for games. You need some games.
There's time for imagination. There's time for just, focusing in on. The child is really focusing on the aspect of the functionality of the truck. They want to actually be that. There's a glow. There's a brilliance even behind the operation of what they see.
Yes.
And so when we, I guess, get older, we kind of like, compartmentalize everything.
I remember when we were in Germany, living in Germany, and going down to the pool, the
Bonhoff, the Bonhoff, the Holland, the
Holland, whatever it's called. Yeah. We're jumping off the highest platform.
No fear, no nothing.
I would never do that now. Oh my gosh, we just diving, jumping, doing cannonballs.
I remember that.
Up there.
No fear.
Yeah, because again, we're like, man, it's about we learn those fears for one. Because we're not born with them. We accommodate them as we go. And so many times we put on layers of things that sap the light, sap the gratitude, sap the brilliance. Man. And as a result of that, we don't live again. And so, it's important to be carefree in some areas, in some instances.
Yeah.
But I think that we sometimes need to look at what needs to be unwired, so that we can rewire different areas.
To rewire.
Yeah.
Gratitude.
So that, and gratitude can be in the midst of that to release, I would say that it's like a pendulum of brilliance. It's just,
that constant flow.
Yeah. Yeah. Because polarity is not necessarily opposites. It's really just, it's an infinity. So you're really just going through different things to get where you need to go.
This is good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm just sitting here taking all in. Audience, I hope you're taking this all in. This is just a really good casual conversation, but it's very, very vivid. As you can hear, just what Dr. Patrick is sharing today. It's very, very vivid and it's real and it's tangible. And one of the things that I love about gratitude, we've been doing this gratitude challenge for over 7 years. And now it's just, the whole thing about now is raising the bar for greater gratitude. This is an aspect of us raising the bar because now we need to see gratitude in what it does in so many of its totality. Not just what we said earlier, I mean, really just to the point of what he was saying, really honing in on where going down that, what did you say, that tunnel, but going down that place of experiencing all of what gratitude really is. And it just makes such a big difference in our lives when we see things that it's just not something that we do, but it's who we are. Gratitude is a part of us. We just have to tap into gratitude and see that silver lining sometimes that we don't necessarily, like you say, we outgrow a lot of things. And, we forget that we can see the sparkle in it. We can see the grandeur of what that thing is. And so as we look at brilliance and we focus in on gratitude and the light that it brings to our lives, one of the things I think about is the different phases in our lives, and I would like Patrick to speak to that, the different phases, the different seasons that we're in, I mean, so many different things that we come into, like Patrick was saying, it might have been a situation that you were in that kind of made you think, wow, there's more to this, or I'm learning through this. And how gratitude can even bring you to a place of appreciation or bring you to a place of
phases in life.
Right. Through the different seasons that we experience. Sometimes gratitude brings us out of those things because we're, focusing on being thankful and the energy that we feel behind being thankful. And it's really interesting how when you express gratitude and you may be going through that little rough patch, all of a sudden it's like some stuff you just like, oh, I forgot all about that. And you've moved into a greater place or a greater awareness because of the time and the intentionality that you took to journal. When you took time to journal journal what you're grateful for, or do the gratitude jar.
Yeah.
Or actually write out things or share with someone else, gratitude and how that lifted you out of that moment. Isn't it true that as you serve others, then you forget about what, not forget about what, but it lifts you out of where you are because you're serving or helping.
Absolutely.
That's an aspect of gratitude.
Absolutely.
If you can, I know I said a whole lot there, but can you just speak whatever, whatever's on your heart right now concerning gratitude and what we've been talking about?
Yeah, I think, again, the universe itself is about energy, and then it is about, it doesn't really dissipate. It just changes to another form scientifically, right? So
okay.
It's constantly, so it's constantly unfolding. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So it's just like when I think about the phases of life, like, okay, you know what? This may not be the best experience, but I've got to, how can I take gratitude, use gratitude, embody gratitude to help me understand how to harness the power of this energy, this moment in a way that will benefit me and benefit the world that I live in. And for me, that's kind of how I think about it. I'm on a science kick right now as far as my
as you can see.
So I'm just thinking, too much reading stuff. But
this is good though.
And I'm thinking about it also because in life, that first third of our life, we are in a destiny or purpose moment. We're trying to find out more about ourselves.
Right.
Right. And we're trying to find out more about life itself, where we're going, our careers, our makeup, our constitution of who we are. That's that first phase in life. Okay, my vision, my dream, my talents, my capacities, my competencies, capabilities, all these other things. We're the most assessed culture in the planet. So we've got that part. But then after that destiny is understood, then you start thinking about legacy. Like, okay, what am I actually leaving?
Wow, this is good.
What am I actually giving to others? What am I actually doing with this destiny that I have? But then there's that other phase after, that could be children. It could be your community that you're giving forward or back to. Then there's also that third phase in life after legacy is also accuracy. Your decisions now, because you know that you have limited time. And so when you begin to have gratitude, you pull from your destiny.
Wow.
You pull from your legacy and you pull from your accuracy. So I start thinking about my life as a child, and I'm grateful for these experiences. And next thing you know, there are new moments of brilliance that come out of things that I remember about my childhood because gratitude helps me do that.
Yeah.
I'm grateful when I went to Berlin. I'm grateful for going through Checkpoint Charlie. I'm grateful for going to East Berlin when it was East and West Germany. I'm grateful for the times as a youth I was able to travel to France and on a bus and giving lectures. I was a pure nerd, but my nerdiness got me into a brilliance experience where I was exposed as a child to different things and I didn't really understand it. But now the more and more that I show gratitude about it, that was part of my destiny, is part of my legacy of what I'm offering others. But then also now I start making wiser decisions, better choices with my attitude, with my physiology, with who I am because of gratitude. And say, I'm grateful for this. It's been tough. I'm grateful. I'm not going to deny what I'm feeling. I'm not going to deny what I'm experiencing. Yet, because gratitude is now wired, I've taken it from the left arm to the right arm. I'm rewiring things. That means my energy goes to that different direction. Because once I rewire, the energy shifts with it, with the rewiring. Same thing that they do in a house. They have to rewire the electricity and the conduits and everything and the breaker box, and that's the character of the house being transformed. And as a result of that, the energy goes into a different place. And I think we can rewire who we are and how we are and where that energy goes when we are living in gratitude.
This is really good. Audience, I hope that you are really taking some really good nuggets from, Dr. Patrick is sharing some really good things. And he's pulling from so many different aspects, the physiological point of view, and now just looking at different phases in our lives, and how we can pull and leave legacy because of the fact that we are moving in a greater aspect of gratitude. I'm excited that we've taken this opportunity to talk and share. And this, we're not done yet, but I just want to also mention to you, audience, please put your comments in the chat. Please, share how you are feeling. What are you grabbing? What are you taking? What are your takeaways concerning the brilliance that surround gratitude? To be in the moment, to make sure that this is a continuum, and that this is not just a one-time incident or a season incident. I always say gratitude is not a trend. It's not a trend. It's something that we can incorporate into our lives, and to help us see the better side of things, to help us be in the moment for just simple things. Gratitude is like a thermostat. I always say that, because it sets the tone for your day. It sets the tone for the place that you're in, the space that you're in. Uh, it's a boomerang effect. You give it out, it comes back. And you touch other people with the fact that you're being grateful. You enlighten the space that you're in. There's a positivity there, positive charge, a spark, that enlightens not only your life, but the lives of others that are around you. And so I'm excited about talking about brilliance, because I think this is something that, we may not really see. And when I was really thinking about that, I said, hey, wait a minute, there's a light there that shines within us as we go forth.
Yep.
And we're grateful. I'm grateful to be outside. I'm grateful for the walk. I'm grateful for the tea. I'm grateful for the time that I have. And then just to be able to have dialogue. Grateful for the memory. Patrick and I are sitting here, and once we shut down this, the cameras, we've already set a memory here. We were in the moment.
Yeah.
That we can look back and say, wow, we had great dialogue in the backyard, sitting here amongst all of this and sharing with you.
Yeah.
And so, brilliance, if you could just really tie all of this in a nutshell, Patrick, I know you when you first started, you were talking about the physiological aspect. You were talking about the neuroscience aspect. Then you were talking about more practicality. And then you were just even sharing what you were talking about, the brilliance of the memories that you had. Taking the time when you did go to Berlin when you were little, when when you were a teenager, when you did go to experience Checkpoint Charlie and all these places, and going with your group of other students that were going traveling abroad to different countries. What about you, audience? Think about that. What memories, great memories do you have that you can recapture? Because that's the essence of you. That's the essence of you, the great moments that you had, the milestones that you have. We don't want to miss any of that. We want to have gratitude for those things, because when you have gratitude for those things, then it enlightens the space. There's the brilliance there. So go ahead and recap some things that you want to share with the audience today concerning all of that brilliance.
Yeah, I think we also should notice how we think, notice how we emote, notice our patterns, notice our cycles, because I think once we notice those things, that's what's going to help us really start reframing. And I think this is about reframing as well. When you think about, sometimes there have been times in my life where I didn't really notice what was going on in my life because I was inside the frame. And until I stepped out of the frame, I experienced change and transformation, but I was just too much in it. It was frustration, it was grief, it was anger, it was all these other things that were happening. Then when I reframed it, just like a picture, once you reframe the picture, and based upon the color of the frame, you'll see differences in the picture.
And there's a color again. Oh,
right.
The spectrum.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
I think gratitude helps us reframe.
Yes, this is great. See the brighter side of things.
Yeah. It'll help us reframe exactly what we're looking at and how we're looking at things. Because sometimes it's not even what we're looking at. It's how we're looking at it, and what has colored that, what has caused it to be what it was. So for me, I'm taking from just some personal experiences of times I looked at some old pictures regarding some difficult moments in my life. I was just going through, it's like, wow. And I began to say, I'm grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
I was just activating gratitude. And when I was doing that, I reframed whatever pain,
All of that.
everything was reframed versus just looking at it, so I just can't believe that. Reframe it. And the more that we reframe with gratitude, I think the more we'll start getting wisdom, sparks, brilliance, brightness, luster, blaze, all those things. And you think about those who were trailblazers, they were able to blaze a trail without having any knowledge of what they were going into.
No frame of reference.
Absolutely. So they had to create their own frame. And so a lot of that was based upon the attitude and the desire to push, the impetus, the grit, the resilience. So I think that those are things that help us in gratitude. I think based upon the negativity of the world and everything else that we're hearing, and the fact that our what's the term I want to use? Our physiology or the human anatomy brain is wired to negativity. That's the way that it's designed because as we evolved as human beings, the goal was that we had to protect. So we had to constantly be on alert about wild animals and things that tragedies that would come and try to come against our tribes. And as a result of that, we were wired for alertness and making sure everything's okay.
Wow.
And so therefore we're wired to negativity, which is why viral negativity sells. It's it's alertness. Well, that's changing. It's changing because we're being more deliberate about focusing on light and focusing on gratitude and focusing, things have changed and evolved with us as a species as well. So I think it's important that we be very deliberate and intentional about building those kind of atmospheres. And I think when we reframe it, that'll help us step back and it helps us grow as well because once you reframe, you start noticing areas that you didn't notice before. Rewire in areas that you haven't wired before. You access dimensions of your thought process and your heart that you haven't accessed before. You watch the electricity that you bring into spaces. You start thinking about the space and the aura that you bring. And so, and then you know how to shift that in order for you to be authentically you. And so those are just a few things that when I think about brilliance and light, connecting it to gratitude, hopefully those are some key takeaways for us today.
Wow. Gratitude community. Let's just, I know this is pre-recorded, but this has really been intentional because we really wanted to have that concrete dialogue. Isn't this amazing? I want to thank my brother, Dr. Patrick J. Brown.
Thank you.
For being here, for just coming and shedding light. There it is, that word, sharing light, on this aspect of gratitude. And one thing that I'm taking away from the most part, especially the ending part of what you're saying, and I really believe this, is that gratitude helps us to grow. There's growth there. There's a growth mindset there. And that does that mean that we're going to be happy-go-lucky every day? No. Absolutely not. There are days, we all go through some things, but it's about reframing, rewiring, seeing things in a different way, being intentional, as Patrick, was saying. It's an intentionality behind it. And as I would always say, it's a place right now of raising the bar, sitting with it, and being in the moment. We want to be present in gratitude. We want gratitude to be present. We want it to resonate. Even after November, the gratitude month is over, we can take a lot of this into our next. We can take this into our daily living. We can take this into our communities, our families. We can embody all of that and help us to move forward in a greater way. I want you to tell the audience about how they can get in contact with you, your book,
Sure,
and all of that. And just excited about my brother and his doctoral studies and just what the research that he has brought to the world. I think it's just amazing. Even that, there's gratitude there. I'm thankful because I can glean from him. I can glean from him. I might be the oldest, but I can still glean from the intellectual body that of works that he brings to the world. And so I'm excited about that. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for this moment because we're in a perpetual place of learning. And so, Patrick, please tell the audience how they can get in contact with you and what you're doing, what you're working on next, and all these kind of things.
What am I working on next? Recreation.
Okay.
Relaxation and hobbies.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Gratitude.
That is what I'm working on.
Gratitude is speaking right
Oh my
now.
gosh. So I've taken a step back to
Yes.
get back into my hobbies, honestly, recreation. Just I gotta take some time for me personally.
Good.
I'm actually going back through I kept a journal
Okay.
during the entire 3.5 years. And it wasn't just about the body of work that I was learning. It was really about what is being unlearned. And then also what am I learning organically from my peers?
That's
And I
good.
have a whole lot of just richness, goodness of content that I'm reflecting on. So I next year I'm looking at re-releasing Change Matters, Vision Matters, and then I wrote 3 books
Okay.
in the past couple of years that I'm looking to release next spring, hopefully. You can reach out to me if you want to order Change Matters. Change Matters was written in 2014. The book is about 21 principles that really focuses on the purpose, product, and the process of change. And so it's in its 10th year now. And you can order that at my website, www.iampatrickbrown.com, for your signed copy. And so you can order
Yes.
directly from me and I mail it to you. It may not be Amazon, but I can get it to you with at least 7 to 10 days. All right. So you can order directly from me. I'm also available for speaking engagements, coaching, and consulting work as well. Looking forward to revamping that. So that should come spring after the first quarter of 2025. And also, I'm really going to get more into looking at my frameworks and different things that I've learned to contribute to the field of organization development and change. That's next year, all next year. So I'll be hooded hopefully in the spring and go ahead and walk across and be finished. I also want to let you know I do have a blog called realchangematters.com.
Yes.
I haven't written hardly anything the past couple of years because I've been focusing on my studies, but there's some old blogs I think that would really encourage you and strengthen you. So I'm looking for a whole revamping of ideas and strategies that I'd like to implement next year. So I am patrickbrown.com. You can go to realchangematters.com. Be on the lookout for new content for the Change Architect Institute. There's an academy that I do have that we're going to re-release most likely at the end of the quarter. So things are in design right now, putting all those pieces together. So those are the ways that you can reach out to me. Please follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, as well as on here on Facebook as well. It's Patrick Brown.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I just want to say thank you. And community, gratitude community, let's thank. I can't hear you out there, but I want you to put thank you in the chat for Dr. Patrick being here with us today. And I'm so excited. And I would like for you all to reach out on my website, visit my website at www.transformational-moment.com. Click the 2024 Gratitude Challenge link. There's a lot of recap information out there. If you missed all of the activities, you could still download a lot of the activities and use them. And hopefully they'll resonate with you. Maybe one of the activities will, but it may be able to spark something or ignite something in you that will have gratitude and that brilliance come alive, and just make a difference in your life and in your day. That's my contribution to the world.
Yes. I also want to say something else about Carmela's contribution. I want to encourage you to order her book as well, Be Transformed. She hasn't talked about that, but also she is a mindset coach. And I think that spending some time with her, set up some time with her to get your first session, an inquiry session. If you're on this journey to shift your mindset, incredible coach about helping you shift the trajectory of your mindset. So for those of you that are saying, you know what, I'm closing out my year, I really need to check my mindset about different areas in my life so I can grow and emerge into those areas. Carmela, as a coach, would really help you in that as well. So I just want to do a little shameless plug for First Glance LLC, which is her business. Even though we're on the Gratitude Challenge, I just want to say that because I think that it's important through all of this, after all this is over, as far as this gratitude journey, now it's about the mindset and being even more deliberate and having somebody help you from an accountability perspective, from a growth perspective, from a development perspective, in the area of your mindset. So I just wanted to say that as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro.
All
I
right.
appreciate that. I was not expecting that at all. But thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
you
you. You're
sharing
welcome.
that with the audience and everything. And you can find out more information about me again at www.transformational-moment.com. And he was mentioning my book, which is Be Transformed, Empowering You for Destiny. You can order that from my publisher. Visit my website so you can find out more information how you can get your copy right now. And so we're going to close out. I'm so excited. Just wanted to say salute to all of our Gratitude Challenge community people out there. We thank you for sharing this time with us. We're going to just go off, what do you call it? Go off scale. What do you call it? Go off. What do you call it when you go off? We're going to go offline.
All right. See you next time.
We're going to go offline right now, have a little bit of tea, but we will see you. I will see you. Patrick will see you as well because he chimes in all the time on the next live broadcast. Have a great day and remember that gratitude speaks. I'll see you later.